So why are negative wealth transfers an extremely important part within a financial strategy? Simply, when we have negative wealth transfers, what that simply means is that I can have financial power, I can have cash reserves, I can have cash flow. But when I have a negative wealth transfer, that money can actually be working against me. Let me give you an example of what we're talking about. So I get a phone call from someone who was very concerned because now that they retired, they're now having to pay taxes on their cash flow during their retirement years. And she was quite surprised at the amount of taxes that she's paying and the amount of money that she's short every month as she lives in her retirement years. She was not expecting that. That tax is creating what? A negative wealth transfer. So as she was accumulating that money, she was getting a tax deduction, but now that she's living off that money, she's paying taxes on that gross amount. This negative wealth transfer is having a negative impact on the quality of her life and her capacity to be able to live and take care of her responsibilities and her bills. Well, what about from a real estate investor perspective? This is a really, really good point because real estate investors oftentimes use money as down payment to bring down their payments. Well, the problem with this is that when you put down a large down payment, you are literally creating a negative wealth transfer. Wait a minute, Jeff, but I'm going to use that money to finance a property. Right, great idea. But it doesn't eliminate the expense that you are creating because now you've taken a lump sum of money from an interest bearing account. And now that money is not only no longer creating interest for you, but you've also created an illiquid asset. So now it's a part of your property, but you're not creating compound interest from it. You're not able to build cash reserves from it, and you're not able to build compounding interest from those cash reserves. All of those are negative wealth transfers. It is, even though you made a smart decision, it does not negate the fact that you're creating a negative wealth transfer. This is the reason why when we put down a down payment to purchase a property, we want to continue to have control of that money. We want to continue to earn interest on that money. We want to continue to build cash reserves on that money so that we're not creating a negative wealth transfer. Let me give you another example here. Oftentimes, I get phone calls from folks who are either paying for private school or paying for college. And because they can afford it, they don't think much about it until they have some type of financial change and their budget or cash flow is impacted. And then when they call me, I show them how that the years that they were paying for private school, that they created a negative wealth transfer. How is that a negative wealth transfer, Jeff? I'm funding my children's education. Well, that's a great thing. Your children's education is a wonderful investment, but when we do it the wrong way, it creates negative wealth transfer because every payment that was made, I took that money and I gave it to an institution. I forfeited future interest from that money. I forfeited cash reserve accumulation from that money, and I forfeited potential cash flow from that money. Those are negative wealth transfers. And once again, just because I'm doing good does not mean that I am operating in the most efficient way. We want to make financial decisions so that we are solving a problem and actually improving our capacity to eliminate the negative wealth transfers and create interest, cash reserves, cash flow, and profit from an expense, regardless if we're talking about funding college or buying real estate or buying a car or investing in a business. We want to maintain control of that money. And then when we talk about taxes, we don't want to take a tax deduction only to have to pay more in taxes later on. Negative wealth transfers are one of the biggest financial risk factors that are often overlooked. It's not on your statement. It's not a conversation that most traditional financial professionals are talking about. And because of that, when there's financial change, when there's an economic shift, That is the reason why we can feel the pain much deeper, is because of all of the years of having those negative wealth transfers, that despite the fact they haven't been accounted for, you can feel the financial burden of those transfers, because now the absence of that money, the absence of the compounding of that money, the absence of having access to that money is now being felt. So we want to eliminate our negative wealth transfers and position ourselves to always create interest, cash reserves, cash flow, profit, and liquidity from our expenses. I hope I answered this well, and I hope that you're getting much out of this material. Let's talk further about how do we avoid our negative wealth transfers. I look forward to seeing you soon.